It's Wednesday, November 7th. There are just 364 days left until Election Day '08.
It's noon in New York, 9 a.m. on the West Coast.
I'm Rob.
I'm Will.
And you're watching Political Lunch.
Welcome back to Political Lunch. Well, folks, yesterday marked 1 year to go before Americans head to the polls to select the 44th president, and for one candidate, there were plenty of reasons to celebrate yesterday.
4.3 million reasons. In fact, that's the amount of money raised on Monday by Ron Paul, political outsider and campaign phenomenon.
That crushes the previous one-day online fundraising record for the GOP, and what's even more remarkable is that the 24-hour fundraiser was pulled off with almost no support from the Ron Paul campaign.
That's right. Trevor Lyman, a Paul supporter and political novice, put up a website, thisnovember5th.com, and then lined up thousands of small contributions to be delivered on Monday the 5th.
Now, the weird part is that November 5th was chosen because it's remembered in British history as the day that anti-Protestant protester Guy Fawkes attempted to bomb Parliament. Apparently, Ron Paul supporters were trying to draw a parallel between Guy Fawkes and their candidate, i.e. one man trying to stand up against the abuses of an overreaching government.
Lyman says he already has plans for other fundraising efforts in December, one to commemorate the Bill of Rights and one to commemorate the Boston Tea Party.
As for the candidate himself, he was surprised and a bit humbled. He said he'll spend the money on his efforts in early primary states like South Carolina.
And we move now to Bettendorf, Iowa, where the Obama campaign will announce his ambitiously named plan to reclaim the American dream.
Obama says this package of middle-class financial assistance will address everything from college tuition to housing costs to tax breaks and pension guarantees, and will reverse what Obama describes as the work of politicians who have been cutting back the safety net for working people while protecting golden parachutes for the well-off.
And bad news today for Dodd Kucinich. This from his day job in the House of Representatives. A resolution introduced by Kucinich, which would have called for the impeachment of Vice President Dick Cheney, has reached the floor and was quickly squashed.
Now, it's not all bad news for the quixotic candidate. In case you missed yesterday's program, make sure to go back and watch that one to find out why, according to American public opinion polling, Kucinich just might be our next president.
And speaking of day jobs, we take a look at Chris Dodd, who's been catching some flack for skipping out on his duties as the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee.
Says today's Washington Post, Dodd, who is drawing about 1% support in major polls, follows the campaign trail, while some of the most critical issues on his Senate panel's agenda remain stuck in neutral.
Coupled with the fact that he's just moved his family to Iowa, and, well, it's no surprise that some of his constituents aren't really feeling the love lately.
Not at all. And today's Waste of Ink award goes to the New York Times Caucus blog, although I guess a blog doesn't actually use ink. But anyways, they had this piece with a clever headline, but it's downhill from there. It's about candidates and whether or not they show up on time to campaign events and whether or not that matters.
Now, the piece focuses on Barack Obama, giving the impression that he is worst offender and the latest of all, and furthermore, that it matters.
Only thing is, it turns out that he's not, and it doesn't.
At an Obama rally in Cedar Rapids, Times reporter Jeff Zeleny notes that some people leave when Obama's more than an hour late. Well, will that affect their vote? No, probably not. And is he actually the worst offender? No, he's really not. So that distinction actually goes to John Edwards, who still managed to take home second place last time around.
But to me, here's the real story. Zeleny says that Obama was late because his plane couldn't leave Chicago because of bad weather. Sounds like a perfectly good excuse to me. But wait, at the bottom of that piece on the caucus blog, there's an update.
Turns out he was late because the plane flew to the wrong city. They went to Des Moines instead.
I guess that happens. And finally, one late-breaking headline from Iowa today. This from Dubuque, where former Republican GOP candidate Sam Brownback will announce later today that he's now supporting John McCain.
Now, this could give McCain a strong boost because there are countless supporters who flocked to Brownback because he was a staunch opponent of abortion and gay marriage.
That's it for Political Lunch today. Thanks for watching. Rob's back tomorrow with the Thursday Snack.